Hey everyone, it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life here for Twisted Sketches with Lisa and Christy, and this is the beautiful sketch we're going to be working with this month, and I'm excited to get started. We're also throwing in, of course, our twist of making everything monochromatic, and remember how last month I forgot to do part of the challenge on the last video? I'll try to make sure not to do that this month. So I'm going to go ahead and start off right away by using some papers from my June stash kit. This is another thing I'm doing this month on my channel, along with, I think there's like 20 of us on YouTube that are participating. And so I went ahead and just went through everything, tried to find all my teal greeny colors to play with, just because I know I can work with them. And I want to show you how when I say monochromatic, at least in my mind, I know there's different ways and I might not be completely right and whatever. But to me, it does not mean that every single piece that you have on a layout has to be a teal. You can have monochromatic mixed in with neutrals. And so I wanted to highlight that for you. And you're going to see it throughout my layout. You're also going to see that I struggled immensely trying to figure out how I was going to make this layout work, as to why this video is 13 minutes and 52 seconds long, because I had the hardest time trying to make this work. I'm very pleased with the way it is now that it's all done, but it was a long process, and I also wanted to be able to show you, we all mention this, we all have these times, but I think sometimes when you watch us do process videos, it's really hard sometimes to relate. You see us just doing something, and because especially when I do videos, I edit out a ton of things. Like I record what I'm doing and then I stop recording. I do some more stuff like without recording, trying to figure out my next step. I figure out what that is and then I record it. That way you're not seeing me do things like tape things down or, things that I find don't really add to what I'm doing to the layout and kind of are like pointless minutes to a video for me. I always say you do you, and I actually don't mind watching videos where you see that. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I just don't like to record myself doing it, so I choose not to. But my goal here is, like I said, to show you how I'm doing it. I'm starting off by really liking that fussy cut scallop I used with this Maggie Holmes paper that has the days of the week. I just liked the way it looked together. And I have these snow photos from December of last year. It's the first time it snowed. And we were really, really lucky. So I know most of you got like pummeled with snow. It was like the winter that would not end. But in the lower mainland, I think we got 3 snowstorms the entire winter, and they weren't anything massive. Like, no, I don't think they were a big deal at all. And so I know that probably makes a lot of people mad because you all got just so much snow. But we were like waiting for it because the winter before that we had gotten a ton of snow. It was insane. And we don't normally get a lot. I mean, 3 snowstorms, that's pretty average for us. But Jackson was waiting because the year before that he had gotten so much and he had learned to like the snow the year before. And so he's like, it's not snowing, Mommy. Thankfully, it finally did enough to go play. And so we went for a little walk after Sean got home from work or something, so he could have Nora. And I got Jackson all dressed up and bundled up, and we went outside and we went for a walk to our local park because it's got some hills and stuff. And so he could play down and slide down the hills and just play and do what he wants. And I got these really cute photos of him all bundled up, and then the fun shot of the snow, just scenery that was there. I really love the look of snow on trees. I think that's just so like a magical look. And it was just a really, really fun afternoon. Like, the half an hour that we were out. We didn't stay out for very long because we didn't have a lot of snow and it was really wet snow, so it wasn't even that fun to play in, but he wanted to be out in it. And so we're documenting this, and part of my problem is he has that green jacket and it's super cute on him. Totally fits him. but it's really hard to scrap because, as I've mentioned multiple times, green and red are not my colors to scrap with. I can't make them work. It drives me crazy. So I'm doing this. I'm not really liking the way it's turning out. I'm struggling. And then I think, well, I could pull out one of my kits from I received in January. My Secret Not Secret kit has green tones, and I've already done like a snow layout with it, with him in this jacket. So it's like I could try, but I wasn't digging that either. I was looking through it, and I mean, if I really wanted to, I probably could have made it work. But I'm like, no, I don't want two layouts in that jacket, kind of that same situation, especially considering they're pretty close together, like they were within the same winter. So I'm like, nope, let's go back and just start with the basics of what I like. So I'm going to trim this paper. This is the Dear Lizzie paper, and it's going to be at the top and be my border along with the scallop. And then my idea here is I'm going to cut the scallop a little bit so that it's going to have a little space, so I can either place an embellishment or a photo up there like the sketch we're trying to follow does, and see where I can go from there. And I'll be honest, if you look at my layout versus the sketch, I think you can see it a little bit. You definitely can tell where I got the idea from, but I don't follow it a whole lot. Like the idea of it with one vertical strip, I do that, but I don't do a lot of horizontal strip, but I don't do a lot of the little vertical little tag type things that is in it. I choose not to do that. Instead, I chose to do layers in different ways, so that I could highlight all the little different shades that I was trying to add in. So I found this was also in all of this paper is from my stash kit. And this is supposed to be something where you like journal, like it would be like a really, really long story you want to journal because those pages flip up. And that is from, I think, the Carousel collection from Maggie Holmes. And I have that there because I really like that floral. It's, especially even though I know I'm doing a boy layout, it's still not so much that it's like overpowering, so I wanted to keep that in there. I went ahead and grabbed one of the darker black scallops to bring in a pop of heavier black at the top to tie in with the polka dot that I had added. And then I brought in this wood grain, and this is where I'm showing you how I'm adding my neutrals here. So I've got black and teal going on, but I'm also going to add in this tan wood grain type paper because it's also a neutral. So it works when you're doing a monochromatic layout because you're still seeing all the pops of teal or green or whatever color you want to call it, and it's not taking away from that, and you can still tell that the main color here is the teal that I'm trying to use. And this is how I really like to do monochromatic layouts, is go ahead and use big pops of the color you're trying to highlight and make them the statement pieces, but then come in with a neutral or two and make it all flow in together. And it helps, it's pleasing to the eye, and you get some fun different layers and textures brought in when you do that. So you can see I'm trying to add more, and I'm like, okay, now I'm just going way too overboard. So I'm going to go ahead and take those pieces that I just added, those two pieces back out. That's way too much. And I'm pretty happy with this, but I want to cut out a strip of this polka dot paper. If you watched my stash kit sharing you what I brought in with this kit, this piece of paper was originally going to go with the other one I had brought in a second ago and the floral because I really love the three of them together. But I had ended up using it on this one, but I wanted to keep a little bit. So down the line, I can do a layout with that and it all mix in. So that's why I did that. I finally decided I'm going to use this snow photo. It's my favorite one of everything. Even though this whole layout's supposed to be documenting my son and I, the photo of the snow is my favorite. So I'm going to highlight that down at the bottom. And then you can see I added just the photo of me and Jackson up close. I trimmed it all down at the top. And those are going to be the only two photos I used. At the beginning, I did try to use all four of them, but it's not going to work. So in order to get, like the sketch has a fun little dimension or sequence of photos, I'm going to use these gigantic snowflakes. This was a really popular thing for December's Secret Not Secret kit. Christina sent a bunch of us these really awesome dimensional snowflakes, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to use them. But they are going to fit on this layout. I'm going to make it work. And I really love the way it works out. and gives you that sequence of something across the page to follow the sketch. And this is how I'm able to bring that, the whole point of the sketch, back to focus. And this is kind of me twisting up the sketch in a special way to make it work for me. So you can do so many different things with sketches, and this is just an example of how just because you see 3 photos, you don't have to use photos. You can use embellishments to be in place of where a photo would be, and that's me doing that here. I'm going to move my title up to the top. It's not really a huge thing for this layout, really. I am one that tends to make my titles a big showcase, but for this one, it's just going to kind of hide up there and just be there. And then I tried to play around with the doily, but that was too much with the snowflakes. So I do attempt it, but that's not going to make it on the layout. And I come up with a completely different idea. You're going to see in a minute what ends up happening. So I'm pretty pleased with the way this is turning out. I did add another layer of a lighter tealy green color in between the floral paper and the teal on teal polka dot. I liked the way it broke up and just added one more layer to that. And I'm going to go ahead and place all the snowflakes down. I do add another one to the right so that it looks like it's falling off the page. And I'm pretty pleased with this, but I'm thinking that what I need to do next is switch out the O and have a pop of white at the top. And then I'm also going to take my scissors and cut at the bottom because it's really blank down there. And I'm thinking I'm going to like doing this whole Missy Wooden thing that I keep seeing her doing. And I'm like, this is fabulous how she just cuts a little notch out and then puts pattern paper behind it. It's such a genius thing to do. And so I go ahead to do that and back it with a black and white check that you can see there. And the back side of the scallop paper has a really soft green teal that I know matches because it worked for the scallops. And so that's what I'm going to use to back this pattern paper. Yeah, you guys, I don't like this at all. It looks horrible. I think had I done a different layout and I was making this area a feature, it would have worked, but it's just supposed to be a little nod to something down there, and I hate it. I hate it. So in the end, what I decided to do is I tried to use my trimmer and I can't. I don't have the right trimmer to just chop down the middle, but I'm going to take this and use my ruler and make some notches, and I'm going to cut this layout basically in half and back it with a full sheet of pattern paper that has some more of that neutral wood grain light tan color, because yeah, I hate it. I hate that. I think it's horrible. And I think I'm still not 100% happy with this layout, but what I am going to do is do some stitching in black to kind of tie it all together, and I think that's really going to help. So check out my Instagram to see the full finished look with the stitching, so you can see how it actually looks all together, because I don't do it in the finished photo you're going to see at the end. Please make sure to go check out Lisa's take. I love her layout, and if you like the color purple, you have to make sure to go check it out because it's super adorable. This was a bit of a challenge for her. I got to pick the challenge this month of monochromatic, and she took it on. She did really great. So make sure you go check that out, and we will be back in 2 weeks with how we're going to take this sketch and completely twist it up. So here's a look at the sketch one more time and my finished layout. Let me know if you think you can see the sketch in it. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks everyone so much for watching and being on this long journey with me. Bye!